Hello, welcome back to the last part of improving your aerial video, and today I'm going to talk about video editing. So I made a little list here to remind myself. I'm going to talk about changing the FPS, synchronize by audio, finding music, some motion within the video, zooming in and panning and so on, stabilizing and color correction. So the most important part, or before you start making a video, you should make a plan for what kind of video you want to make, but sometimes that is not the case. You just don't want to, or you just go to a location and film a bunch of stuff, and then you get back home, and then you have to go through all of it and see how you can use your shots the best possible way. What kind of video do you want to make? What kind of mood do you want to set your video in? Then you drag all of these clips into Adobe Premiere first. Okay, here we go, finally. Okay, so video rendering and playback. Select the Mercury playback engine if you can, if your graphics card can support CUDA. And on scratch disk, I guess you should select the fastest hard drive for, well, everything. But take note of where your autosave folder is, because if your Adobe Premiere crashes, then you need to go to that folder and open the autosave file. Then just give it a name and click OK, but I have already started this one. So click on Project right there and open your video files and drag them in here. You can also create a new bin and kind of sort everything out if you have a lot of video clips, because you can create a new bin and put stuff in here. Let's take this video clip into the timeline. You get a sequence. The sequence settings is going to match the video settings. So we go to sequence and sequence settings. Here we'll see that the clip is in 50 frames per second, but I don't want that. Select custom, I think, and then select just 30. And that's it. Okay. Okay. You can also select another clip here, because I want to show you how to synchronize two video clips. Because I recorded the same thing with two different video cameras and I want to switch between them. Select both of them. Right click. Select synchronize. Synchronize by audio and try track 2. Press OK. Sometimes it doesn't work, you have to select another track. Right there, he's looking at himself. And if you disable the first clip here by disabling this one, you'll see the camera points towards him. So now you can, for example, keep this angle up until, I don't know, that point, if you want to. And now you can, if you want to keep the audio from both of the video files, you can right click and press unlink. Now you can delete only the video. So that is how you synchronize two different video files by audio. Actually, before you start cutting the video, let's put in this clip, for example, an aerial video. Look through and see if you want to have some slow motion in this video clip. This is in slow motion, I think. Yeah, because in order to avoid stuttering, since this is in 50 frames per second, and it is not going to be synchronized with 60 or 30, so you can right click on the video clip, modify it, and select interpret footage. Here you can assume this frame rate 30 instead. So it is going to play at 30 FPS. The reason you should do, it's not important, but if you do this right away, if you start cutting up the video, then finding a clip you want, and then you change the frames per second, you will see that you will go to another location. So it's no problem, you can just find this clip, find the position you want one more time, but it's, if you know you want slow motion and also to provide smooth footage with no stuttering, you can right click on the video clip and modify interpret footage, assume 30 FPS to get right where you want to be right away. And you don't want the audio usually, you can click mute, or you can right click, select unlink, click the audio, press delete. So to make a cut you press C to get a eraser, and then you can make some cuts here. If you want this, keep this shot, then you can delete this one perhaps, and you can go a bit further out, get to another place, press C, and press V to get a regular cursor back. You could add some transitions between this one, but usually it is best to not have any kind of transition whatsoever. Sometimes I will use one transition, and I will go to Effects, Video Transitions, and cross dissolve a few times, perhaps to enhance the connection between two different clips, but it is quite rare that I want to use cross dissolve. Usually a clean cut is the best. And by the way, to undo you can just press Ctrl and set. Now it's gone. Dip to black, I often use that at the ending to soften the end there. And you can press Alt and scroll in to zoom in, and I will get the option to shorten it or extend it. Press Alt and scroll out to zoom out. So you have found all of the video clips and put them in the order that you want to tell the story that you want. Now you need to find some music. So you can go to a place called incompetech.com and you just click on the royalty-free music there and full search. Here you can find a bunch of music. You can select Bright, for example, click search. You can find a bunch of music here, click listen, and when you found the song you want, you have to remember that you have to click more, and this text right there, you have to copy it and paste it in the video description. And you can use this music also with monetized videos. Another place to get music is on the YouTube channel. If you go to your channel, this is in Norwegian, but you see where I'm clicking. Click here, and here you have the sound library. You can select the music you want, find the music you want, and download it and use it in Adobe Premiere. So we have found the music you want, go to the download folders or wherever you have downloaded the music, drag it into here. And I already have my music here. Put it in the timeline. And to make it easier to synchronize, to get the cut exactly at a specific point, if you drag this down the track, now you can see exactly where the music is changing. So perhaps you want to make a cut exactly there. Now you can also press Alt, zoom in, make it even easier. And you can make the cut exactly where you want to make it. So you do this for all of your clips. The most important thing is to be patient, and sometimes you feel like you get stuck. Well, perhaps wait until the next day or take a break for a few hours. Okay, so here's the 4K video clip, and yeah, change the sequence settings because I want. Now it's going to change to 29. I don't know why the video has 29 FPS instead of the 30. It's the last little information here is supposed to contain the color, I think, from the old TV sets. But that's not needed anymore. You could just have 30, but since the video is in 29, okay, 29. And click OK. Now you can see the resolution is at 3840 by 2160. And we'll right click and just click unlink, click the audio, delete it. Let's go to show you an effect here. Let's zoom out. A well-known effect. From there perhaps. Now you can click this video clip, go to effects, well, here it is, effects, and go to motion. You can scale it to 150% and click this one to make actually go to back to 100 and first click this one to make a keyframe, then you go to 150%. Now we can move our display a little bit further. Perhaps I want to stop right there. Make another keyframe. Now you can zoom out to 100 and you can click this one to make another keyframe, and then you can switch between the keyframes by clicking these arrow buttons. So you can go to the first keyframe, press play, and you can see the effect. I don't remember the name of that effect, but it is quite well known. I don't think you should use it if it's too obvious, perhaps, because it is such... People are going to look at this and remember the effect and think about the effect and not think about the video in itself. So I think you could use this effect, but not make it so clear that you're actually using the effect. So you should perhaps use, I don't know, 120 to 100 instead, perhaps. So that the effect is going to still be there, so the viewer is going to get the emotional response from it, perhaps, without noticing the effect in itself. Okay, so we can, of course, then click on motion, zoom in to 150%. Now we can also go to the beginning, perhaps, click this keyframe here, or clock, to make a keyframe. And now we can change the position to make a tilt with motion. Perhaps we can start here. We have a keyframe, yeah. Now we can play. Perhaps we can end it there. Make another keyframe there. Now drag this position down, for example, to here. And I cannot play this, I think. I think it's going to, oh, it works. So you can make tilt motion and pan motion at the same time as you're flying, and you can combine it with zooming in and out and you can do a lot of stuff here to get some extra motion with your video, aerial video. This is an old GIMP, keep existing settings. This is an old, oh yeah. Right now you can just select right click and scale to frame size. Don't think it's necessary. You can use set to frame size perhaps. Don't think there's a difference right now. The difference between set to frame size and scale to frame size is that if you have a 1080p timeline, so you can create it. If you want to have 1080p output, but you have 4K video, so let's just take the yeah, put this one in there first. Now it is in 1080p, and if you timeline is in 1080p, if you take the 4K video in here and you want to keep the existing settings, now it is going to get zoomed in. But if you now right click and use the scale to frame size, you are going to throw away the resolution. You're going to reduce the resolution of the clip. It is still at 100%. That is wrong. If you use set to frame size, now we have zoomed out instead. So you are going to have the full resolution to play with. Now you can zoom in, and you're going to keep the correct resolution without losing image quality. That was a bad explanation perhaps, but that is at least the correct way to do it. If you have a 1080p timeline, you drag a 4K clip into it. Just right click and select set to frame size, not scale. Now we can, because this is an old gimbal, so it's a little bit stuttering in the image, or not stuttering perhaps, but vibration. So you can go to select the clip, select effects, and you can search for warp, and you can find the warp stabilizer. And the only thing now you can see it's working right there, and click the advanced arrow and click detailed analysis. Otherwise, usually the default settings works great for, at least for brushless gimbals that has a bit vibration, short vibration. If you notice any problems, just tweak the settings and eventually you will learn what does what. So that is warp stabilizer. Now this is working in the background. We can still work with the picture or the video by selecting perhaps we can do some color correction. Go to video effects. Oh, remove this warp thing here. Go to video effects. Go to color correction. The first thing you would like to do perhaps is change the overall brightness. I think this is okay exposed, but if you feel like you need to change the overall brightness, it can be easier sometimes to use the best thing might be to use the Luma curve. Drag that in, and here you can see the effect, and this is the highlight, this is the shadows, and you can turn down the brightness. You can also, perhaps you want to retain the highlights, and you can make a point here, perhaps. Yeah, do something like this. Then you're making curves. So you're going to decrease the midtones, but highlights, you will keep the highlights. And you make the shadows is going to be a little bit darker, the highlights is going to be a little bit lighter actually. We could fix it by doing this again. So you can play around with these curves here. If you want to make only the shadows a bit darker, you can do like so. And you can play around to get it where you want it to be. So when you're done, the overall, it's stabilized. So here you can see the effect of the stabilizer also. If I go to Warp Stabilizer and click this one, I'm going to remove the effect. You can see I've zoomed in to compensate for the vibrations. So now it is going to be quite smooth. And this is the Luma curve. We're done with the Luma curve, and we can go to... Actually, we can go to the fast color corrector. I often use this one if I feel like the white balance is wrong. I can click this tool there. And I can select what is supposed to be white in the image, but not use it on areas that are overexposed, because that doesn't work. So click here, for example. Now you can see it changed the color, and you can tweak it here later. So when you get it to where you want it to be, you can go to just click this arrow button there. It saves. You can go to RGB curves. And this one works similar to the Luma curve, but this is going to make the colors pop more. So it is normal to make an S curve. It is quite easy. It's going to make the colors pop a bit more. So you can play around with this until you're happy, and you can also select one channel to tweak the settings again, or to change the individual colors. But if you're going to remove that red jacket there, you have to do some secondary color correction, and I don't really do any secondary color correction. I haven't done that. A lot of people will say that you need to use scopes in order to do some color correction, especially perhaps to get accurate skin color, and to stay broadcast safe if you're making if you're making it for a TV show or something like that. But you can just research on YouTube about color correcting, and there's tons of information there. but this is just what I do, and it works for me at least. Since I'm using a flat picture profile, that is why everything is so flat. I also removed the sharpness that the camera makes, the built-in sharpness function. So I have to put the sharpness back in because it seems perhaps a little bit soft. If you think so, you can try to increase the sharpness by using the Valve effects, blur and sharpen, and unsharpen mask. So here you can change different settings here. So what it does is that it's going to find the edges and enhance the contrast of the edges. So here's the radius of the edge. If I understand it correctly, it's going to, if you look at this, well, everywhere, but you can see that it is going to find larger edges to enhance the contrast. The threshold here, I think if you increase it, it is going to soften it up. Yeah, it softens up the edges. So you can play around with this, perhaps set it to 1. This is a bit too much. Perhaps there. And you can... This is 0. Increase it to... Yeah, let's put it to 50, the default setting. And you can see there is a little bit... looks a little bit sharper. But you shouldn't overdo this because it can quickly look like noise. So that is all. So you put all of your... you look through all of your video clips. You put them into Premiere. Then you put everything, you make rough cuts, put them in the order that you want. Then you go and find the music. Put the music in the timeline. Drag this down here. You can easier see the music here where you want to make the cut. So you make the fine cuts of everything, all the clips, and then you can start stabilizing, and well, then you perhaps, yeah, you can start stabilizing the footage, and you can also do color correction. So that is all. Now you have to render it out and make sure that you are not rendering more than you want. So the video clip perhaps stops here, so you can drag this one back here so that you only render what you want to render. And then you can click match source, so the render settings is going to match the source, but often, especially for YouTube, even if you are in a 1080p timeline, you can select a higher resolution to 2K at least, or 4K, because at 2K and 4K, YouTube is going to compress the video less. One annoying little thing is that when you perhaps have a 4K video and you upload it to YouTube, it has a higher contrast at 4K than people who are watching it at 1080p. So people that just go to full screen perhaps and then start watching it is not going to get the colors that you want them to watch. So that's a bit annoying. Okay. So you can select the resolution you want, 30 FPS. And this one is, you have to change it to, well, this one's okay. Change this one to 0.0 or something, because you have to increase it to, well, for 4K or 2K I use at least 80. And if there's a lot of movements in your picture, I think it's recommended to use 2-pass. But it is going to take a longer time to render the video. And yeah, by the way, here's the output name. You can select where you want to save the file, and then click export. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. And so until next time, fly safe and happy flying.